to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. This is where we answer all of your questions about puppyhood. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sparky from the Puppy Academy. We're excited you're here. And now, let's get to the show. Nice.
It's just more about me today because it's my birthday.
It is Bethany's big birthday. And I will not say the number because I'm afraid.
It is the big 4-0. Yes, I am a geriatric mother. It's amazing. Have you ever heard that term before? Anybody?
I would never say that to a woman in my entire life.
As you shouldn't. As you shouldn't.
That is frightening to say
Anybody
out loud.
who has a baby in their later mid part of life is a geriatric. Yeah, it's great. Thank you, society. Thank you, doctors.
That's a horrible name for it, guys.
It really is.
Horrible name for it.
All right, guys. Well, welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
Episode
number
183.
183. I'm Bethany. This is Sparky. Who is this that I'm cuddling with?
Actually, it's one of our new pups. I haven't worked with her yet.
That's Nala.
Nala.
Oh, it's Nala?
We've had Nala on
She
here.
got big.
Yeah, we've had Nala on here.
I don't think I've worked with her in about a week and a half, and
She's
I don't
huge.
even recognize the dog.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
She's so good.
Yeah, and honestly, the improvement alone,
Yeah.
it's very fast. And guys, if you guys ever want to put a question in the chat, if we're going over your question and you throw your question in the chat, we have someone watching, we'll always prioritize it because we like to go back and forth. It feels more fun, more real that way.
Exactly. Please include the age and breed.
Oh, gosh, yes. All right.
We have lots of questions. We're going to dive in.
I'm going to go for the shorties. I'm going to give you the longies.
All right.
Short one first. Do you want to start?
No, go ahead.
Lexi, any tips on potty training? We are struggling with our 12-week-old Dalmatian puppy. Dalmatians, that breed specifically can be very tough because they do have a, do you remember with liver or pancreas?
I don't remember what it is, but
They can't have their water regulated like another dog could as strictly.
Yeah.
You say strictly? Yeah. As strictly. Simply because they have to have more access to it because their body needs more water. I don't want to tell you.
The way they crystallize.
Yeah, it was something about in their urine, there's like more crystallization if they have less opportunities to drink water. Mm-hmm. So for them, you can't limit it in the same way you would for another dog, like not in the same way I would for Nala. Yeah. But what I could do instead is I could give more opportunities to drink, but smaller amounts. So I'm still measuring the amount of water I'm giving, but I'm giving more opportunities, but I'm also going out for more potty. So if I were to give you my perfect advice is, one, you got to get on a schedule, especially for a Dalmatian puppy who's drinking more water. And what a schedule kind of looks like is, I won't go over the big thing. You can probably look it up on one of our 100 million videos we have out. I say it on every one of them. And when you're putting your dog in the crate and they come out of it, when you take them out to go for their potty and they don't go, you can put them back in. But if you do this multiple times and it will feel like you're doing it a lot, keep the leash on your dog, tie it to your hip or have it in your arm. So when they're doing their free time, which is their ability to, when they walk and play, when they train, when they're just kind of supervised hanging out with you, you still have a lot of control over what they're doing. Thank you, Nala. Nala likes it. If I see her kind of training and playing with her toy, having a great time, and she just stops out of nowhere and just kind of starts like sniffing, moving around, I'm like, oh, that's a potty. Let's go outside, sit at the threshold if your dog can wait, and then sit at the threshold for the grass or the area for potty. Okay, break, release, free, whatever you guys use, and then you give her an opportunity to go potty. It gives you more control.
Oh, pause. Pause.
Short pause.
Hello.
Waiting for Instagram to come back.
Yeah, it's back.
All right. It just gives you a bit more control over their bladder. And if you have a dog who's drinking a lot of water throughout the day, I mean, ideally, it'd be wonderful if they'd come at least check in with you. So you're building their bladder control. You're actually increasing the length of time they can hold their urine. And then eventually, if you're always cueing into when they have to go potty, they might start cueing into checking in with you as well. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to get that quicker than someone who's just doing a really strict crate schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Pause. Due to poor connection again. TikTok, you're always so good. And Instagram gives us problems.
And we're losing TikTok too. I watched many streamers last night who said it.
Oh, and if, influencers?
They're going to be really sad. They're going to struggle from this. It's sad.
Well, no, I said influencers said that.
Oh,
They said streamers?
Oh, streamers are like people who play video games, but they're basically influencers. I'm a nerd.
Oh, okay.
I'm a nerd.
I'm just collecting details. Okay, well, that makes it true, for sure. So, here's the thing. Just to give you everything he said, I'm totally backing, but just to give you the numbers. I had I'll admit it, miserable time helping someone potty train a puppy. And it was a 12-week-old German short-haired pointer, which is practically a Dalmatian. There's so many similarities. And it did not matter what I did. It did not matter how good I was. I could not increase the amount of time she could hold her pee. I was just at the mercy of learning. Oh, paused for poor connection. Hang on.
By the way, I'm glad you're saying this because this happened to me one time and I thought I was a terrible dog trainer when I was training the dog. It made me feel horrible.
I did feel bad. I was like, okay, I got your dog on a schedule, but I didn't actually help her with her potty holding ability.
I think I refunded the person. I feel so bad.
Well, if it was for potty training, I don't blame you. I would have too. But here's the thing. I was just at the mercy of basically learning her schedule and getting in front of it. That's how it felt. And pausing again. Sorry. Should I just keep going?
We're getting a pause on Instagram every 30 seconds to a minute or so. Should we keep going or do you want us to pause when they pause?
We can pause just for a second so that...
Instagram, we're going to pause when you guys pause so we keep you going strong.
There.
So we can give them the sound.
Okay.
TikTok, start throwing questions in the chat.
I know, right? So, what was I saying? So anyway, this is what worked with her, and I never got it to advance. It'll probably be another 2 to 4 weeks before the owner can increase this, bless his heart. If the puppy was out of crate, in playpen, tethered to me, working on place even with food, every 30 minutes, potty, pee break. If the puppy was in crate, an hour to 90 minutes, no joke. There were certain times a day, like first thing in the morning, it would be 60 minutes a couple times because I think she got a little bit more water in the morning. 60 minutes, 60 minutes, 60 minutes. Then I'd get a couple of 90 minutes. And then at night it'd go back down to 60 minutes. And then through the night, I managed 6 hours. That was
my next question. What was your night routine for a dog like that?
We tried 6 hours at first. It did not work. We waited a few days at 4 hours, which was so miserable. And that worked. So then we upped it to 5 and we managed to get to 6 in 2 weeks. So that's the only thing I was able to help out with when it came to the puppy training or the potty training, and it was overnight. So just keep that in mind, and it's very tough. Some of these dogs are very, very tough to do. And then I just wanted to add one more thing, even though it's taken us forever on this question, is when he said like in and out of crate, what he meant is like you give a 2-minute potty chance, 2 to 3 minutes tops. They go to crate for 10 to 15 minutes. 2-minute potty chance, crate 10 to 15 minutes, 2-minute potty chance. They finally potty. Now they can be out for a little while and do the thing.
We have seen certain breeds like our current Dalmatian we have here who resisted for the first 2 or 3 weeks in the program, and she would be totally fine with holding it for 8 hours straight. No issue whatsoever with a potty opportunity every 30 minutes. So there is kind of a wall that you will hit with those potties. If you realize that your dog is only spending time in the crate, that's the other option where you keep them on the leash, but you got to watch them closely, and that leash is in your hand. You're basically learning your dog's cues on how to go potty.
He's saying if you don't want to do the crate, it's got to be.
Well, no, I think you absolutely should do the crate a few times, but there's not everyone who can do it. We have dogs who don't pee for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I assume someone at home is probably going to have the same. This is the other option if you're like, I can't just keep you in the crate for 8 hours all day long.
Right.
Even though I'm giving you opportunity to potty.
I don't think a 12-week-old, that'll be an issue though.
Is it 12 weeks?
Ricky, can you?
Wow, yeah, that's young.
Can you take the doggy?
Yes.
She's been gnawing your hands.
She's starting to get chewy.
Hey, can you show them that really quick? So guys, she's handing off a puppy, but it doesn't look like the way that I originally thought it looked when I first saw it. She's supporting the front shoulders with her front hand and the back and the spine with her bottom. So she's not just allowing this dog to flop, she's giving it support. Emotionally, she feels supported, and physically she feels supported.
You can tell. He loves me.
Wow. That's all she wanted the whole time. She was like, just love me.
Okay, let's go to another. Let's fire through a few more if Instagram will let us.
Yeah, they haven't stopped in a while.
Ours. Oh man. Okay, I already started it. No, sorry. I'm sorry. Crying crate questions are so nuanced to the individual dog that it just makes me feel bad because I feel like I need you here to play off of you. Okay, but just Laura says ours cries in crate. stick him in the folding table we use for laundry. Wait a minute. But I stick him on the folding table we use for laundry, and he stops and sleeps through the whole night, never moves. Stick him on the folding table?
So I'm guessing they probably, wait, like he sleeps on top of it so he doesn't leave it because he's afraid to jump off?
Because he's afraid to jump off.
Bethany, go.
The whole time in crate. I mean, someday he's gonna fall. Or jump.
Ricky, can I use you as my example?
You could try putting him in. Why don't you try putting him in?
Permission?
I don't know. What are you gonna say?
Why don't you try?
Coconut.
Would you hush?
Do I have your permission?
Oh my gosh! Every time I try to speak.
All right.
Wait.
Oh, go. Sorry.
I was
Chatting with Ricky.
This is the weirdest episode ever. I swear. Okay.
We got balloons. We got birthday girls.
And then we
tiaras.
took 20 minutes to answer a potty question because of Instagram. Oh my gosh. Okay. All I was gonna say is that you could try to put the crate on the table. That might do it for you. That might have like a medium effect psychologically on the dog, but yet be secure and safe. You might try that. What were you going to say?
You had a client use the kitchen
coconut.
island, remember?
That use an island?
Remember they use the kitchen island?
Yeah, I feel
it's
bad.
the same-
I don't want to mention a client because I don't have their permission. I'm just going to mention
No, I
you.
wouldn't mention their names.
Okay. We had a client
It's
that
the
did the
same
same
thing.
thing for a long time,
On a
and
kitchen
the
island.
dog eventually got really confident and comfortable on the kitchen counter, and things happen. Dogs' nails get longer, they lose grip, their paw hair grows longer, they lose grip, or they just get a little too confident, and they didn't have security for the dog. It fell, and it actually really hurt its leg, and it was only like a 4.5 foot fall, but it slipped, so it fell sideways. So I don't personally recommend that because of that reason. I mean, I've had my own dogs on surfaces, they've fallen off because dogs are dogs. They don't rationalize the way we think, so they're not always thinking about distance to the ground. The owner of Puppy Academy, her dog fell off a table one time. Thankfully, she was okay, but it's something that we all have to consider. Have you done it
Because
since?
she got excited to see you.
Yeah, I walked up and she got excited. Oh, sorry. Instagram, give it a second. TikTok. Give it a second. So it was actually me. I walked up and Coconut got excited to see me. She came to the edge of the table where she normally would be, and right when I reached out to pet her, she reached out with a paw.
Trust.
And she slipped. Yeah, trust. And yeah, it totally broke trust as well. But it was an easily avoidable situation. Did we do that ever again after that? Probably not. No, it's just we had to learn from it, learn from us, learn from our mistakes.
Yeah. I would like to just throw this out here. I'm sorry that I can't fully unpack it for you. If you're interested, we do have an online school where we kind of fully dive into these subjects. You can go to the puppyacademy.com.
We could talk about an hour on what we just said.
But I want you to think about this. There is a psychological reason that your puppy is able to be on that table, just like his client was able to be on the island and be calm. And so what does that tell you? One, that the dog is capable. What's the other thing it tells you? Two, that you haven't cultivated an environment where the dog feels that level of security, or honestly, insecurity. I think it's a combination of both, with the crate. Maybe there's a lot of affection around the crate. Like when the puppy comes out, hello, pet, 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 petting before the puppy goes in. So why would the puppy ever want to rest in there? Mm-hmm. And so for me, I would look deeper into dog psychology and just how dogs learn and things like that to be able to set that invisible boundary, because that's basically what it is for your dog, and be able to enforce that at home in a lot of different ways. Because I'll be honest, if you're not able to do that, the crate is the least of your worries.
Yeah, that was actually my next thought too. I did a private lesson yesterday at one of our clients' homes. We were working on the crate, and it was an hour-long lesson. We spent 25 minutes working inside the crate, coming out of it and going back in. 25 minutes of that hour lesson, and after 25 minutes, that dog was able to calmly sit on place, and we were only there because of the dog's inability to settle.
Yeah, but why do you think it took you that long?
Oh, because we were working from a deficit. We had a lot of overstimulation, a lot of anxiety, a lot of excitement. Oh, sorry.
Start with working from a deficit. I love that
We
line.
were working from a deficit, which basically meant that we already had an overstimulated pup, an overexcited pup, a mentally I can't say mentally challenged, that's not the word I'm going for. I'll just go with mentally overstimulated pup.
Yeah.
So we're working from a deficit to pull them out of that hole, then build confidence, give them a shot to try it out, reset if it doesn't go right, and then do it again until we can build up enough confidence to get them to settle on command.
Exactly. Okay, cool. All right. The more I learn about puppy training, the more I realize it looks a lot like raising kids. This comes from Saskia.
I love you. Sorry,
You're
I'm married.
Shame.
That's amazing, right?
Shame
there.
on you.
Yes.
Yes, it is very similar. Not babies, but kids. There's
Children.
a ton of similarities. Once kids start to rationalize more, that's where it gets very different. Like when the gentle parenting kicks in around like the 3, 4, 5, 6 year mark, when you're explaining things to them, that's where it starts to get different in some ways. But the core roots of like structure, discipline, reward, consistency, all of those things, how to avoid creating anxiety and things like that. There are so many similarities. What I'm learning with my 1.5-year-old is working with puppies is exactly like a 1.5-year-old. It really is. And it's this small window of time where she's picking up habits and patterns, but not fully rationalizing yet. Everything is a scream. That's a bite with a puppy. It's like, there's so many similarities that it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I worked with a client that has a new baby and a 1-year-old or like 1 or 2-year-old. As I'm training the dog, they keep looking at their little daughter who's like doing similar stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why it's like, even when we talk about, punishment, like correcting a dog, there is a way to correct a puppy, but we don't outright correct puppies usually because it's like my 16-month-old. If I tell her no and try to correct her, she'll just wait till I'm not looking and do the same thing again because they don't have, that line of thought. They don't have that maturity yet to understand the why behind it and all that. So with puppies, what we are doing instead is 98%, 99% more using body language to teach. Like when to follow me, when not to follow me, using body language, spatial pressure to calm them down, using the crate door to calm them down. Again, all concepts that you can find in our online program. Do we have one on Instagram that I missed because the pause, I got kicked out. What is that one? What is that? Can you read it?
6-month-old Australian Labradoodle suddenly acting very fearful. Example, out on walks and someone walks by or is ahead. Is this normal phase? How to support?
That's a great question. So in case you guys couldn't hear that, 6-month-old is all of a sudden fearful of people. Is that right? And just things going by him?
On walks.
On walks. Fearful on walks. Is this normal? What to do about it? Is it a phase? It is a phase, but you do have to do something about it. At least I hope it's a phase. Puppies go through, I need to learn how to speak to this more efficiently from the biological sense, but puppies go through a few fear phases. Sometimes 1, sometimes 3. It can be all the way up until 1.5-year-old. And they just have these fear phases. And it's a biological response, is my understanding, is because they're predators and, they're predators that they need a few like kick in the pants biologically to make sure they also are like just backing off a little bit. They're not just so gung-ho.
I heard pack mentality too.
Yeah. Well, but they don't have a pack.
Oh, sorry, I meant in the wild. Like if the dogs are in the wild, that's why they have fear phases.
Oh, yeah. And dogs still have them. So as domesticated as they are, they're still predators. They still kill things. And so these are genetically really important for the dog. And this makes so much sense. When I was a younger trainer, I would honestly be too forceful with dogs in fear phases. I would be like, exposure, exposure, exposure. But I honestly overdid it really early in my career.
Most people did.
I even overdid it with my little dog Happy early in my career with her. Cause I'm just like, I know how to fix this. It's exposure, and you realize nothing bad happens to you when you get over it. That is true most of the time, but not always when they're in a fear phase. You can end up making it worse. So what I would say is just space. Just look for providing your dog more distance. And when you do that, you'll build more trust with your dog at the same time. So what you're looking for, it's the same with reactivity. You're looking for those early moments of, oh God, oh my goodness, it's coming down the street, right? You're looking for those early moments of that look on your dog's face. I don't know if it's ears alert, if it's ears back, frozen body, moving into you a little bit. Like, I don't know what it is, but look for all those things. And you're immediately like, let's go, 180. turn. If your puppy won't take food, sometimes they won't, and that's fine. If they will, stop, sit, food, and then continue going in the opposite direction of what was coming at you, then cross the street if they're not crossing the street already, or bubble way out. And do it in a way of like, I'm taking control of the situation. That's how you build trust with your dog, and your dog will start to follow you more and trust you more, that you're not going to put them in pressure cooker situations where someone walks right by you and goes, oh, what a sweet dog, when your dog is like looking overly nervous, submissive, because that dog feels like you just put them in the middle of a fire and you're not controlling your environment. And so honestly, that would be my biggest thing, is focus on that, focus on building confidence at a distance and leadership wise, and see if the phase then rides itself out. If it doesn't within 2 to 3 weeks, I would actually get a one-on-one trainer to the house.
Did you mention position to be in between your dog and their dog?
Well, no, I didn't.
If possible?
Yeah, if possible. Anytime you do have to walk by something, honestly, I would do a 180 and walk a bit and then cross the street. But if you have to be in the middle, walk by something, you have to be in the middle. So I was trying to say, so you have to position yourself,
you can
that
go around a car, like a parked car on the side. You go around it. You go off to the side, wait for them to pass with something blocking you.
Yeah.
I've even had clients go up driveways of neighbors they're friendly with, and just hang up there for a second and then come back down when they're ready.
And we're not talking about hiding. You're not avoiding. That's not what we're talking about.
They can still see, but you're working them at a lower threshold.
Yes.
Their brain is overstimulated within 5 feet. Their brain is still working past 10 feet.
Bingo. Bingo. Okay, cool.
That's fun.
I like this. How do I stop counter surfing? Katie says, for my 4.5-month-old, so this is a pretty young pup, bad habit with a pretty young pup, with a German Shepherd Border Collie mix. Oh, that sounds like a crazy mix.
If I was doing full-blown structure, it would be a crate schedule. When they come out of the crate, they're on leash. I work them around the area of the counter, but they're never actually allowed to go up the counter. If I walk them by it, I start training them that if they look at it, it's redirection away from it, eventually correction, then redirection away from it. Mm-hmm. If I'm doing a single private session, I'm probably going to train them around it and then eventually work with long lead and then work them off of the counter. So when they start showing attention to it, it's recall back to you, redirection away, reset to place it down. And I want to give a really good out command. She taught me this, by the way. I want to give a really good out command. Because if I see my dog walking towards the counter, in 9 months, you're probably not going to have a leash on your dog when they're in your home. If they're fully grown, they're over a year old. You want to be able to say, hey, Georgie, out. They leave the kitchen. They look aimless. Place, sit, down. So you're giving the brain a direction after you're out. This is more of your thing, so you should give more of the details
even with a 4.5, I don't have a lot of details. Even with a 4.5-month-old pup, I would correct as well. But here's the thing. When you're correcting a dog roughly under 2 years old for something like this, if you don't have a relationship with the dog that is built on at least some foundation of leadership skills, you might have some fallout in other places. There might be some anxiety in other situations. You might be like, oh, that worked so well. I'm going to try to correct in these other cases too. And then you're going to start to see, they might stop doing what they're doing like they're supposed to, but you might just start to see anxiety, displacement, behaviors more.
Will you explain displacement?
It could be sniffing. It could be compulsive sniffing.
Like neurotic sniffing almost.
Yeah, yes, like OCD.
Going on to place and leading their down with their nose instead of their paws going down first.
Chewing tail, redirecting onto something else. Like there's just, if I say, oh, that's an easy one, just correct your dog. Especially under the 2-year mark is when we notice fallout from that. If owners don't have that association with their dog of like waiting at the door, even without a leash, not a 4.5-month-old, but you're working on those steps to have these little boundaries in the home, these respect boundaries, not to jump up and bite my clothes like I'm telling you, I've got like marks still from that GSP that I worked with.
Baby sharks. Yes. You've had a lot of baby sharks lately.
I have like PTSD from this GSP.
Belgian Malinois.
But you've like got things like that under control. They're not disrespecting your space. They can move away from you, even at 4.5 months old, especially at 4.5 months old. If I'm just like, no, not right now, they can move out of my space and not invade it again. Like we've got a relationship that's balanced. That's not only fun, but also one of leadership and guidance and respect. And if you have that, just correct your puppy. All right. I think we're done, even though it's been a weird one.
I actually thought it was very informational. We were just kind of dead.
That's weird one. Thanks for hanging with us, TikTok. All the pauses are pretty annoying to keep up with, especially on our end, but especially for you guys. So thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you same time, same place next week. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning into Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
We hope you found some advice that you can use to help make puppyhood a little easier.
Don't forget to join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time on Instagram or TikTok at The Puppy Academy.
This is where you can get a chance to ask your burning questions in real time. And if you want even more puppy guidance, visit our website at thepuppyacademy.com for info on joining our online puppy school.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review.
These reviews let more people find us and supports us on our mission to help as many puppy parents as possible around the globe.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.